Hello everyone and welcome back to the Learnology channel. Today we are going to drive something very interesting on which I was thinking to create a tutorial since a long time, but due to some time restriction I was not able to do. So let's jump in the actual code. Okay, so today we are driving deep into the enterprise authentication in Angular using Microsoft Azure Active Directory. If you are building an Angular application for business, then you need to know how to integrate the Azure Active Directory. So in this video, I will show you how to implement the Azure AD authentication in Angular 20 plus using the Bootstrap 5. Please note, I'm using Bootstrap. So no Angular material is required. So by the end of video, now let's see that you will get after this. So by the end of this video, you will get this code, the fully functional code running over here, as you can see on the screen. This is the main screen from where you will initiate the Microsoft authentication. Here, if you see that I have added some extra code, you can remove later on. I will also share you the code link of the code, the GitHub, in the description of the video. So here if you see that you can, if you are facing any challenge or any issue, maybe some error, then you can follow this debug information and you could get the option, get the solution. So let's quickly go through how the application look like and how it work. The very first step, you see that it's saying the Microsoft MSAL status initialized. So we'll discuss that later on. So let's not spend time on that one. We'll go back. We'll come back to that later on. Let directly text it. See here, I'm clicking with this micro sign in with the Microsoft Secure Enterprise login, and now you see that it's jump to the pop-up in the window from where I would use the live account, which is I have already created. Now, if you see that I'm trying to log in, and as I have the two-step authentication enable on my this account, so I will use Microsoft Authenticator to get authentication. Okay, now I got a request on my phone and it is 48. Okay, it is approved. So let me click no, and now here is the final screen. Now if you see that I'm successfully logged in using the Microsoft Active Directory authentication in my Angular app. And now if you see that it's giving me the full name, it's giving me the email address, and that the username using which I logged in. In Azure Active Directory, I do not have any role assigned to me, otherwise it could have been displayed over here. Now if you see that in some of the application you need to get the access token, so this application will give you the access token as well here. If you see that I'm just for security purpose, I'm not displaying the whole what is called the authentication token, some part of that one. So this is what you will get at the end of a screen, sorry, at the end of the video. And so let's go through the code. So for that, I will not I will not do the coding from very scratch. I have already code checked in the GitHub. You can download from there. So I will go through the code. I will give a walk through the code. Will show you that how the code work and how I will also show you that what are the main functionality of the code and where what is happening. Now, if you see that this function, this application is also having the option to log out. So if you click on the log out, it will ask you that which account you want to log out. So I want to log out from here. So now I'm signed out. Now it's a good idea to close the browser and back to the sign in screen. Here is the link I have already uploaded. I will share this link in the description function. So now let's go ahead and see that how this entire application is set up. Okay, so this is what we have seen that what we are. Let me recap that what we are going to get today. So first, let me show you what we are building. We'll create a Angular app. So you already have the Angular app. If you are on this video, so I'm 100% sure that you already know how to create the Angular app. So what we'll create? We'll create a professional login page, which you have already seen in the previous few minutes back. We will also see the Azure Active Directory authentication with the Microsoft login. We will see the dashboard showing the user profile information, which you have already seen. Access, then we'll access the token management for API call. Then we'll back to the logout page. See, the architecture of this entire application is very straightforward. There is nothing fancy, not, nothing fancy, and I would say no very deep architecture is required. It's simple. It's Angular application which use the MSAL, which is the add-on will be installing in our application in Angular application using the npm MSAL install. I will share the code as well, all the command prompt which I have used, and then we'll create the application, register the application in Active Directory, and then via Microsoft Graph. Okay, before we write any code, let's see that what we need to set up. Uh, and let's see. Let's first start setting up your Azure Active Directory application. And for that, let me walk you through the code. So let me keep this one as a Windows, under Windows, and let me open Azure Active Directory, Azure portal. Let me go back to the Azure portal. I will logged into the Azure using my same credential. So I think I'm already logged in, so it should not ask. Yes, if you see that I'm already logged in, so it not ask. Otherwise, it could have asked me, and I need to do the second step verification as well. See, actually, earlier this was called Azure Active Directory. Now it has been renamed as a Microsoft Intra ID. So if you are not able to find out the Microsoft Azure Active Directories, don't worry, just click on the Microsoft Internet ID. So this is the Microsoft Azure. Once you logged in, you will land back to on this screen. From here, you can see that some of the your tenant ID. This is unique for my entire application. This is my domain ID and other things. Now, if I go back to here and let me go back and see that. Okay, the very first thing what you need to do, you need to go to create the app registration. So for this training purpose, what we'll do, we'll create a application, and you can name anything. I have already, so let me copy, make this one something like Azure Angular AD. I will leave this one as a single tenant only, and the platform I will use the single page application, and the redirect URL should be https colon / localhost colon and 4200. Why 4200? By default Angular run on this application, and you just need to register. So I have already registered, so I'm not going to create another tenant in my screen. So let me go back to the main screen and I'll show you the what uh, extra setting you need to do. Now if you go to the manage tenant here, if you see that, okay, sorry, not the manage tenant, let me go back to the previous screen and manage applications. No, not this application. Yes. Okay, let me see. I created, yes, this one. So if you see that I have already created one, registered one application with the name Angular training app. And here if you see that this is the name, this is the application ID and the object ID. So you need to copy, you need to save this somewhere as a secret, because these two values will be used going forward. Now if you see that here, now one extra thing, once you are you have already registered, the next thing you need to do is to go back to the user consent, and you have to give the new consent that user.read. This user.read is required to read the user profile. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the user profile. You won't be able to get the name of the user. Okay. You will only get the username. Otherwise, no username and no role, you won't be able to. So this is calling the user graph. So you have to add this user on. Okay. So let's go back. I am not assigning any role to anyone. So leave everything. You just need to register an application and you are done. So I'm not going to make any other changes. I have already copied this application ID and tenant ID in my application. So I will go through and will use that one. Okay. So let's close that. You are done now. You don't, so all the changes which is required over here is done. If you are still facing some problem while registering your application, just drop a message. I will be able to help you and we can connect sometime. If you are facing any challenges, feel free to reach out to me. Okay, so let's go back to the script code. So from here, if you see that I have already downloaded the code, and if you see that this is code is already downloaded on my local machine. If you have already Visual Studio installed, you can directly open from here. Open in Visual Studio. I have not registered. I have not connected my Visual Studio with GitHub. So that's why you are not able to see that open with VS Code. Otherwise, you would be able to see the open with Visual Studio option over here. Perfect. So now all the prerequisites are done. Now let's quickly jump to the code. And let me open the code. So I have extracted the code, downloaded the code as zip format. If you see that I've downloaded the zip one, then extracted, and this is the location. From here, open this folder in VS Code. So this is the code open. So let me maximize this one because now we don't need the under screen to be visible. So this is the all the files required over here. One more thing you need to note that once you created the application, you need to download few add-on, that is MSAL add-on you need to install with the Angular. So I'll write the all the required command which need to be which is required to install the MSAL library. MSAL library is a small JavaScript library used for visual use in Angular just to connect with Microsoft Active Directory. Okay. Now, if you see that we are using the Angular 20 plus and standalone application. That's why you'll be able to see that we have application with the name component, then we have the like dashboard, CSS, and all these three are standalone in itself. Now, if you want to see the more detail, you can go back and see the Angular JSON. This is the Angular JSON file where you will be able to see what the version we are installing and other thing. Now, if you see that I have already mentioned that we are using Bootstrap. So once you install the Bootstrap, you need to add these two lines of code in your angular.json. So this line of code is actually what is doing. It is registering your Angular code, Angular library, sorry, not Angular, Bootstrap, CSS and Bootstrap JavaScript with your existing Angular. Because here we are not going, you are not using the Angular. So what we are using here, we are using Bootstrap. We are not using material, Angular material. But feel free if you are comfortable in the Angular material, go back and use that one. Because there is no dependency on the Angular. I just use the Angular for look and feel, and I feel comfortable with Angular rather than those things. These are some extra settings which you already know. I'm not going to explain other things, the details. This is the Angular package which tell about the, if is that I'm using the Angular 20 plus currently, and these are the some of the other options available. See, I have used the Bootstrap 5 and their Bootstrap icons installs. Okay. Now let's see that how it work. So actually, how it happening? I have already mentioned you that architecture is very simple. It's not complex. There is an Angular application, which Angular application send the request to MSAL library. Then MSAL connect with the our Microsoft Azure portal, from where it hit the graph, and from graph it get the user information back. Then all the information is sent back to the. Let me see something if I can write somewhere. Let's see. Okay. Pardon me for my bad drawing. So there is a very simple one, what is called, there is an Angular app. Okay, not too bad. Angular, uh, pardon me for that. Angular, then you have MSAL library, which connect with the Azure, and then it connect with the Azure graph. Sorry for my bad, and I would say bad drawing. Okay, not safe. Okay, now we are done. So we have already set up everything. Now let's see that how the things work. So now we'll see that where the actual magic happened. The actual magic happened in the app.config.ts file. So let's see app.config.ts file. This is our main files, and all the heart in the complete heart of the application is here in the application ts. As we have already installed the MSAL library. So let's see that how MSAL. So first we have to set up a MSAL instance factory. So first we'll create the MSAL instance factory, which is being initialized here. If you see that MSAL instance factory, so all the code is written. So if I start going to write the code, it may take some time. So I will share the entire code. So it's not a very complex code. The very simple one. If you see that in the very first thing, it's reading the client ID, then authority, then redirect URL, and the from. And these informations are coming from the another variable setup with the environment file. So if you see that here, I have two environment, one environment, this is for development and this is for prod. And here I have already created the production is equal false. It means this is not the production environment detail. This is the client ID I have copied from the Azure. This is a tenant ID which I have copied from the Azure. And this is the exact URL. Now the authority means it's a combination of login.microsoftonline.com, and then you have to put this your tenant ID. So by using this URL, system will be able to identify that where you need to hit to get the details. Okay, let's go back to the app.config.ts. Now if you see that this is set up, and then we have some other logger options, like if it giving any error, then you would be able to see all these things on the console, and you can check what the error you are getting. Okay. Now the problem, see, when I was creating this one very first times and I installed the MSL library and start using, I was doing a blender. I was not initializing the MSL. So the very first thing you have to initialize the MSL. Make sure that MSL library is initialized before hitting to the Azure Active Directory. Because if you are not doing, then system will try to hit the Microsoft Azure Active Directory using MSL, and MSL is not installed. Initialized. So that's why if you see that I have already very first thing I have initialized. If it is not initialized, then it will show the error. Otherwise, it will see the instance. Okay. Rest code is self-explanatory. If you see that MSL library, this you insert the initialize before Angular app starts. So this is the point where we'll check that is the MSL library is initialized or not. If initialized, then it move ahead. Otherwise, it won't. And here, if you see that on the very first screen, you are getting this information. So if Anyhow, this is not initialized, then you will get the message status not initialized and not ready. Okay. Rest of the code, it's simple. I'm not going to there. Some logging error. Now let's move to the next one. Now, next look at the auth service. Now, so if you see that on the config.ts, we are not doing any magic, but we are creating the heart of the entire application. We just created the core logic for the entire application. Now the next authentication, other thing is happening using another service, which I have already created, which is called Authentication Service. So this is the file where system after MSAL is initialized, it use the authentication service. It hit the authentication service, and using this file, it connect with the our Active Directory and get the information. So what does it do? This is the case. Now, if you see that MSAL login, okay, and okay, we are requesting. Then, okay, what we are doing? Okay, this is authentication service. Then it is checking the MSAL is initialized or not. If initialized, then creating the all account from here and using the user.read function, it's reading all the information and accordingly updating the user profile. So from here, if it is a successful, it getting username, it is logged in, initialize, everything done, then it will set up the local user profile detail, name, username parameter, and added tokens. Here, if you want to use the token, you can get the token from here itself. Okay. Now, nothing much more complicated. So all the complexity we have already covered. We have already set up the approut.ts where we are, sorry, not approut, config.ts where we have initialized the MSAL library. And then we are calling the auth service.ts, which ultimately call the authorization service. And from here, it get the information. Okay. So these two code are all self-explanatory. I have also tried to put the comment at the required places. If you see that, then you can go back and still if you face some problem, connect back to me. Okay. Now let's go back to the how the UI screen. So now we are left only with the UI. So for that, we have, if you see that on the whole entire screen, we have only two things, two component, dashboard and logged in. So logged in is the code for designing this login screen. If you see that, this is the code which is rendering our this screen. So I took some help for making it more visual and appealing using some like free AI tools. That's why I was able to create look and feel in this way. Otherwise, I'm very bad on designing the application. I can code, but thinking of designing, I'm not that good. And fact is that the developer are really not very good at the designing. And if there is a good combination, then they are the unique person. Okay. You already know that this HTML have the all the HTML code component which is being used to render. CSS is just for styling, and then all the logic is written in the .ts file. Okay. So once you get the code, go through the each and every section of the code, try to find out. See, nothing complex is written over here. They're all are very simple. Similarly, once everything is done and you have already completed the authentication, system will redirect you to the dashboard page, and then from dashboard you would be able to see the same thing. This is HTML code which is used to render the dashboard, and all the code behind logic is written in this type of script. So it is on init, and then if authenticated, then these are some default messages you will able to get. So I'm not going on the much detail because these code are self-explanatory because you are already expert on the Angular, and that's why you come to see the how authentication can be done. So this complete code is an enterprise ready code which you can use in your live application. Just mix up this code, merge this code with your existing one, and you are ready and good to go with your existing application. Okay. Now let me go back and again once more complete the entire demo. So let me first break this one. Control C. Okay, break. Let me close. Once you download the code, you just need to initialize the code using npm install. You need to do this one because the code currently available doesn't have the required Angular components. So you have to do the npm install. Once npm install is successful, you just need to run the code ng serve. If you want, then you can go ahead and create the ng build, which will automatically build the code, and then once code is built, then you have to choose the ng serve. But here I'm skipping the ng build because I'm using ng serve and dash o. Dash o means open the code. So what it will do, first it will build the code, and once code is built, it will open. And once you complete the build, you will be able to see a public folder automatically created where you will find all the code. Let me see that. Find in folder. Oh, sorry, not no 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 no. Okay, build public. Okay, reveal in Explorer. So here, if you see that this is the compiled. Here you will be able to find the compiled code. Okay, let's run this one ng server and see how it work. Oh, sorry, something here. Ng server. Okay, now see, code is compiling and code is popped on. And if you have noted down, let me close and focus on this area. Let me close this one and again break and then run. Keep an eye on the MSAL initializing. If you see that it will initially try to initialize, yes, checking the status, now initialized. So if you are able to pass this step, it means your all the application is set up to be used. And these are some of the feature available which you can use for debugging. And if you want to see, then you can go back and see the console and you will be able to see all those log over here. All the log which we have already Authentication Service called, then checking MSAL installation, then found not account because we have not logged in till net. So no user logged in, initialize successfully. And here if you see that all the console. So let me now logged in. So once I click, it will open a pop-up and it will ask for login. Now if you see that I'm logged in, so let me scroll up and go to the console and see. Here if you see that this is the account ID and this is the token ID. And let me see if you see that this you will get the token ID and other information from here. So for display purpose, I am not displaying the complete token ID for security purpose, but if you want, then you can use this token ID and use in your application. So this is all about. Let me show you one more thing on this screen. Why I say that it is enterprise ready. I have used Bootstrap. Now if you see that it's very much responsive. And that's why I use Bootstrap most of the time because it automatically take care of my the entire screen setting and UI. I need not to worry about and look and feel a little bit better. I- Let me again log out. It will ask that which account you want to log out And now if I close, it's clearing all the caches from my local system as well, so that once you reopen this window, system find out that you are not logged in. Now if you see that you are back to the main screen, then log in. As I have already logged in on this account, so it's not asking for, because I have already authorized this machine once, so now it not to. So let me send the notification. Okay, let me see the my authenticator. Open. Yes, I can see 38. I approved and done. Okay. Okay, so all the code from this video is available in the GitHub repository. Linked is in the description. You can clone it, update the Azure AD credentials, and have it running in the minute. Okay, so if you find this useful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more Angular and enterprise development content. So next week I will try to build on this by adding a real Microsoft Graph API call and role-based access control. If you see that currently I have not used the role-based access control, I just use the authentication, no role-based authentication. So in next one, we'll try to use this one, role authentication. We'll also simulate the API calls. This is the currently code, it is available, but it is not calling anything back. If can clear the data, get the access tokens. So this will clear the cache. So in upcoming session, I will extend this code to get the access or role-based control. We may be that adding some more extra control over here, so that based on my role, I will be able to see some component or not. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So if you find this useful, do help me to spread this one. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more Angular and enterprise level. Thank you. I am uploading.